Hey guys, it's Ryan here. Oh yeah, I miss you too. Today I'm going to be talking about Ezekiel. Now Ezekiel is challenging because it's like 40 something chapters of poetry and imagery, and it's just image after image after image and vision after vision after vision. But they all come down to mean something. So I'm going to try to cover that real quick. First thing we need to know is Ezekiel is a priest from Jerusalem who is captured and is now in Babylon. So he's not in the city that he's supposed to be at. And one day he was sitting on the riverbanks, and while he was there, he got a vision. And the vision was crazy. I can't even begin to describe it. It's like four different creatures that had four wings, and they're all standing upright, and their wings touch each other, and they each have four heads: one of a lion, one of an eagle, one of a human, one of an angel. And below them is their spirit encapsulated as a wheel, and above them is the structure that they are carrying. That structure builds up to what is a throne, and on that throne is the glory of God. Now, that word glory is meant to signify the physical manifestation of God. Like, God is physically here. And this confuses Ezekiel because he's like, wait, no, you're supposed to be in Jerusalem. I'm in Babylon. Why are you here? And God answers that with a series of other visions. That Israel is idolatrous. He They've broken their covenant, and essentially God is showing Ezekiel all these things that is eventually going to lead to Ezekiel telling the Israelite people that they are going to be destroyed, that his people are going to face inevitable doom, imminent doom, destruction, and there's nothing they can do about it. So Ezekiel goes about showing this in several different ways. He starts talking about the Israelite people as promiscuous sisters and adulterers. He's given a vision of Israelite being the valley of bones, and like all of Israel is just bones and death and decay. And all of this is because they broke the commandment, and they are no longer in love with God. They have stone hearts. They have hearts of stone that are too hard to receive the love that God has given them. So they are going to face destruction because of that, and that is because they have taken other gods and started worshiping them as their own. Um, they still go to their temple, but they also worship this god, and they also worship that idol, and they've just taken all this different stuff and they've mashed it together and said, this is my religion now. So they've broken that covenant that is their relationship with God, and now they're going to be destroyed. And then towards the end of the chapter, around chapter 33 or so, Ezekiel, after years of preaching and warning and trying to get these people to understand what he's doing, and no one is listening, he receives notice that Jerusalem has been destroyed. The temple has been destroyed. Um, and then things start to change. We start to see hope, that God fills him with even more visions, gives him even more messages that he's supposed to talk about. One of them is the hope of restoration of Israelites. One of them is the destruction of evil. And one of them is the restoration of all mankind. And the first vision comes in the form of a David-like king, a messianic king, and that obviously is alluding to Jesus being the king that the Israelites never had, the one that we can look to and trust to lead us the right way. Um, and that's going to be our savior. It's going to be Jesus. And that's supposed to restore the Israelite people. And then the second vision is a vision of a man named Gog, and he is the epitome of evil. He's a king that rules over all of the nations, and he's just basically outright evil. And God destroys him and smites him on the battlefield. And then the third vision is that is a rebuilding of a temple that was bigger and grander than the one that was before, and the Israelites coming back together, or people coming back together. And then that vision that he had at the very beginning of the four creatures carrying the glory of God returns to that city, and it never says it's Jerusalem. And you can see that because then the river, a stream flows out of the threshold of that temple, and it becomes a raging river, and ultimately builds to what we know as the Garden of Eden. It's just different depictions and illustrations of the original creation. So all that saying that we don't need to go to church to have the experience of God, that God is where we are. And our hearts have been turned from the stone to the flesh, that they can receive his love. So you can still have him right there in your house where you are. Love you guys. See y'all next time.